Hi, everybody, and welcome to another Wellness Wednesday. I'm Mike Warren with Alternative Health Concepts, and I'm really happy to be here today. I want to talk to you about a subject that really is the basis for our whole company, and something that's very, very near and dear to my heart, and that's our immune system. And in particular, I want to talk to you about a little-known gland that could be the key for you achieving optimal health. Now, what is this little known gland that we're going to talk about today? Well, it's the thymus gland. And the thymus gland is a little gland. It's large when we're born and grows until about the age of puberty. And then about the age of puberty, from then on, it starts to literally shrivel up. And by the time, some studies show that between ages 40 and 50, we only have about 15% thymic gland or thymus gland activity left. So very little. The way the thymus gland works and why it's so important to your immune system is we now know that this gland is what we call the modulating gland, or the gland that helps your whole immune system or modulates your immune system to do what it's supposed to do. And what is the job of the immune system? It's simply to search out pathogens that come into our bodies, whether it be viruses, bacteria, cancer cells, any number of different pathogens that can come into our body, and our immune system is designed to go out, search out those bad cells, and kill them, get rid of them, so that we can be healthy. You know, it was interesting. I was watching today, and the last couple of days, hopefully some of you have seen it also. It was really interesting. It was a little symposium. It's an ongoing, well, there were 7 episodes. It's called The Truth About Pet Cancer or something like that by Ty Bollinger. Been watching that because they were talking about thymic protein and the importance of that in cancer, particularly in pets. They were talking about this, but the nice thing about the thymus gland is all mammals have one. So it affects all of us, whether it be our pets or ourselves, the same way. It's a critical gland for our immune system. In fact, it's so important to our body, the way our body was designed. It's right here under the sternum, in front of the heart, just slightly above the heart, but it's protected by your sternum or your breastbone because it's that critical to you. So it was designed and put in a place that would survive most injuries that you might have. It's kind of a little side note, but I found it interesting that it's of such importance to be located in our body cavity right next to our heart, which is obviously probably the most important organ we have. Without it, we're not doing too much of anything, are we? So anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about the thymus gland, what it is, what it does, what its purpose is, and then share with you how you can use a product today that is, well, I'll get into it in a little bit. So we have this little gland. It's right under our sternum, as I mentioned. From the age of birth, actually before birth, in the womb, our body is producing this, and it's one of the first glands to actually form in our body. And then when we're born, it's very large in relative size to the rest of us. As we grow, it grows to about puberty, and then it stops growing after that. And as I mentioned, by the time we're in our 40s or 50s, we have very little thymus gland activity left. So what does the thymus gland do? Why is it so important, and why does it stop like that? Well, there are blood cells created in our bone marrow, and those are white blood cells, and they come through the thymus gland. The thymus gland secretes hormone-like proteins that teach, if you will, or synthesize or program. There's a lot of different words that you can use, but we have these white blood cells coming through our thymus gland, and those cells are naive or immature. So what happens in the thymus gland, they go through a process of maturation or maturity, and it's a process of elimination, and in some cases, and taking those cells that are immature and creating mature T cells or T lymphocytes. T for thymus, and that's why it's called it. There's more technical names, and you've heard me talk a little bit about that before, CD4 cells. I'm not going to get into all that. For simplification, the white blood cells go through the thymus gland. They are programmed or matured with these hormone-like proteins that we call thymic proteins. And those proteins teach and mature those cells so that they can go back into the bloodstream and are carried through our body, and those are then deposited in our lymph nodes. And they'll stay there for a long time in our lymph nodes. In fact, when we're age 40 or 50, we're hardly producing any of these thymic proteins anymore. So those blood cells that are the newly created white blood cells that are coming out of the bone marrow, they aren't programmed. They're still running around. They still do a little bit of immune work in our bodies, but for the most part, they are just what we call naive, and they go around and they just do what they do, but they aren't doing as good a job as the cells that have been programmed with these thymic proteins. So why is that important to us? Well, those proteins are the ones that those T cells are the ones that are really the surveillance cells of our whole body. So they go through our body, and a little virus comes into us. You know, we got this terrible flu this year, worst that it's been in a long time. Probably most of you have had a touch of it, hopefully not, but I'm sure some of you had, and some of you may be watching this today and wondering, wow, I've got this flu and it's a bad one. Well, what happens in a normal, healthy body is that flu virus will come into our body and it'll lodge in our body, and these T cells will go out and they'll find that virus and they'll say, aha, I found you. And they'll put a marker on that virus. In this case, we're talking about flu virus. And then that T cell will also go find a killer cell and say, hey, killer cell or policeman or whatever you want to call him, he's going to go back and get this virus and take it out. It's been marked, he's been notified, or she's been notified, it's been notified. It can go back and get rid of the virus. And that's the way our immune system functions in a real simple view. We get bad guys coming into our body. The centurions, if you will, are running around the T cells that I talked about, the T lymphocytes. They find the bad guys, they put a marker on them, and they go get the good guys to take them out. That's what it's all about, and it works very well. It's the way our bodies are perfectly designed to handle all illness. It was interesting on this, I want to get it right. I didn't write down the doctor's name, but I want to give him credit for what I heard him say. He said, the answer to cancer is health. Well, you know, I started thinking about it. I thought, well, that's an interesting comment, and it is so true because, and I think I could change it a little bit. The answer to disease is health. Remember, our bodies are perfectly designed to live healthy, happy lives. That's the way our immune system was designed, so that when we do get something bad involved, even if it's something as terrible as cancer or HIV or something like that, those things can be overcome if we eliminate the reason we got those in the first place. And one of the major reasons that we get any disease, whether it be cold or flu or cancer, is from a weakened immune system, an immune system that isn't working properly. And there's many reasons why our immune system might not be working right, many of which are toxins that we take in, what we eat, the nutrition we put in, different, it can be a myriad of things that we're doing. I mean, even something as simple as taking Advil or something like that on a regular basis, those tend to build up toxins in our body and actually can weaken certain parts of it so that disease can get into our body. So we have to be real careful with all that stuff. But the reality is we have to be aware of everything that we put into our body. You know, we can't help where we live. If we live in a city or inner city where there's a lot of pollution, we're going to breathe that. But we can offset that by exercise and proper nutrition and eating the right foods and taking the right supplements and doing everything in our power. So that brings me back to why the thymus gland is so important. Because the thymus gland is the central modulating gland of our immune system, and it shrinks up, and by the time you're my age, almost 60, virtually have no activity in that gland at all. What do? That's why we get sick as we get older. And also, you know, children that have an immune compromised system that are getting diseases and sicknesses frequently, their immune system has been compromised for whatever reason. There's, again, many, many reasons that could happen. They have a low functioning immune system. So that brings us to what I really want to talk to you about, and which is the reason that Alternative Health Concepts is in fact in business. We sell an immune modulating supplement called BioPro Plus. And on this post, you can click on the link there and it'll take you to our website, and you can learn more about BioPro Plus. Well, why is that so important with what I've just talked about? Well, our thymus gland produces thymic proteins. It's a hormone-like protein, as I mentioned, that goes out and synthesizes or charges or teaches or programs, whatever you want to say, those white immature immune cells. They give them the ability now to go out and find the bad guys and destroy them in our body, and so that we can be healthy and happy. Why is that so important? Well, through modern science and over the last 100 years since thymic proteins have been on the market, we've been able to isolate a few very critical proteins from thymus gland. We take it from a bovine source, all sourced in the United States, which makes it bioidentical to the same proteins that your body produces. Why is that critical? Because when you get to be my age, again, my thymus gland is not working nearly as active as it was when I was 12 or 13 or 14 years old. So by taking the same proteins that your thymus gland produces, we are able to duplicate that. Even though we're my age, 60, I can duplicate that in my body, because as I take in these thymic proteins, particularly BioPro Plus, which you can go find out and read more about and understand how it may help you, you can take those proteins into your body, they go into your blood system, and when that happens, they'll find the white blood cells that is produced in your bone marrow, and they will do the job that they're supposed to do. It helps stimulate the thymus gland that you have, and it also helps to program those white blood cells and help make them into the T lymphocytes that we all need in our body to go through. So that's what's critical about it. That's why it's so important. More importantly, that's why this BioPro Plus works amazingly. It really, you've got to try it for yourself. If you're immune compromised at all, or if you just don't want to get sick and you want to keep your immune system optimized, working at its optimal level, then you need to get BioPro Plus and try it for yourself. Now, we've made it as easy as we can for you. We give you a 90-day unconditional, no questions asked. Just simply go to the website, let us know that you're not happy with it, return what you have or haven't used, return an empty box. We don't care. Use it all, return the box. If you're not happy, we'll return your money 100%, no questions asked. So we've made it as risk-free as we can, because we know what it can do for you. We know that if you try it, you're going to love it. You're going to feel better than you have in years. Your energy levels are going to go through the roof, because again, that's what the immune system does. That's what it's designed to do, so that we can be healthy and happy we can have the energy that we need to get out there and do what we need to do. So I'd really just, in signing off today, I just wanted to share that with you, that you've got this little gland right here under your sternum that is the central gland for your whole immune system. And because of modern science, we were able to take certain proteins from that gland, isolate them, highly purify them, put them into a supplement that you can take on a daily basis and recharge your own immune system. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for watching this video. Really, really appreciate it. We'll be back next Wednesday for another Wellness Wednesday, and we can talk about something new and exciting. And by the way, if you have anything that you'd like me to talk about or a subject, just put it in the comments below this, and we'll get that, and we'll be able to get to them as we go. I'd love to hear from you all. Thank you again for being here. We love you guys, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.